And this weekend, Venus is going to shine bright as a diamond in the night sky, and you can kick off summer enjoying some dazzling views of our sister planet. It's fascinating, Venus is, because in some ways it's so similar to Earth in terms of its size and its terrain. And then in other ways, it is unlike anything we could even imagine. Well, we're going to learn more about it with NASA's upcoming DAVINCI mission. And here to tell us more about that is Lindsay Hays, a NASA program scientist joining us this morning. Lindsay, good morning. How are you today?
I'm well. Good morning to you, too.
And thank you for being here. First of all, I was actually surprised to find out that even though I've looked at Venus in the night sky, just how bright it is compared to other planetary objects and other stars, too. What is making this weekend specifically so good for looking at Venus, watching it?
Well, Venus is going to be the highest in the sky that it normally is this weekend. And so when you're out after sunset, if you look in the western sky, when you just right after sunset in the dusk time period, if you look up in the sky right where the sun has gone down, the brightest object you'll see in the sky is actually Venus. And so, as you mentioned, our sister planet. And actually, the next thing you'll see there, too, is Mars. So there's an opportunity for some great planet viewing this weekend.
And while you were talking, we have a little graphic up that correctly says Mercury's closer to the sun, but Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. Why is that?
Well, Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system because Venus has a really thick atmosphere. It's got about 20 miles of thick clouds that extend above the surface, about 20 miles up. And this means that on the surface of the planet, right when you get down to the bottom of that atmosphere, it's about 900 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the temperature of a professional wood-fired pizza oven. And then also the pressure there is 90 times Earth's surface pressure. So very hot, very high pressure. These are sulfuric acid clouds, so very acidic. Not a great place to be.
Sulfuric acid cloud. I always love it when I hear that. That sounds like something a science fiction writer would come up with. Now, I can understand why people are curious to explore Mars. There's at least this idea that maybe it could be somewhat hospitable to human life, not even close to that with Venus. So what are we looking for the DAVINCI mission to tell us? Why are we looking more into Venus?
Yeah, the DAVINCI mission is really exciting because it's the first time this century that we're actually going to send a probe through Venus's atmosphere and go all the way down to the surface. And as we go down, we're going to be making measurements of the atmosphere. We're going to be taking little sips as we go. We're going to be making measurements of temperature and pressure and other things, wind speed, all of that kind of stuff. And this, we hope, will tell us things like how this really thick atmosphere developed, how it evolved over time, whether or not there were oceans on Venus in the past. And it's going to make fantastic images. Once it gets down below that cloud layer, it's going to be one of the first missions that we've ever had to take high-resolution images of some of these highlands that are on Venus, these sort of oldest surface places on the planet.
Yeah, with that thick layer of clouds, I believe is just contributing to a sort of a greenhouse gas global warming cycle gone awry. Does that mean we thought at one point that those clouds weren't there and that there were lakes and water and something a little more akin to what we see on Earth at any point in Venus's past?
Yeah, we think potentially early in Venus's history, early in the history of our solar system, when all of the planets were young, that potentially Earth and Venus looked a lot alike, right? That they may have been oceans, they may have both had oceans at the same time. But then there was something that, something for whatever reason, Earth and Venus went on sort of different evolutionary paths. Their paths diverged and they evolved in different kinds of ways. And this may have to do with the relative sizes. Venus is a little bit smaller than Earth, not a lot, but a little bit smaller. Venus is, of course, as you mentioned, closer to the sun. So the different amount of insulation that it gets may have led to some of that. But that's why we're doing these missions, right? Is to learn more about that evolution and to see what has changed over time.
Really cool. Really cool to see how you're going to be able to deploy any technology that can withstand 90 times Earth's pressure. But that's why you guys are a lot smarter than we will ever be. Thank you so much for joining us just to give us a little glimpse into what's going to be a really exciting mission.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.